Have y'all seen that second episode of Lanterns? I promise I'm not somebody who is making a big deal about the fact that they took the green off of it. I just want to make sure the title is right. We open with Hal Jordan trying to teach Jon Stewart how to fly. Now, you could interpret this as some kind of weird mentor-mentee kind of thing until you find out that this is actually all a ploy to get rid of Jon Stewart, because Hal needs to go on an investigation in Rushville because he's got to keep, on this alien situation. So Jon attempts to fly, he can't do it, but he does manage to manifest a bird, which is one of the mysteries of this episode, trying to figure out how he was able to do that, because he didn't have the ring. Well, he had the ring when he manifested it, but after he gives the ring back to Hal, the bird stays. And Hal kind of in this cheeky way says, oh, here's your test. Go back and get my lantern, because the ring is running out of juice, so he needs to get the lantern so he can recharge it. Says, go get my lantern and keep the bird alive the entire time. And spoiler alert, he does keep the bird alive the entire time. He keeps it manifested. And I was wondering for the whole episode how he's able to do that, because one, he does not have the ring, and he also gets into conflict a couple of times in the episode. And he may or may not lose consciousness at one point or another. So I'm like, how did you keep that going? Jon has to go back and get the lantern, and therefore he has to go to Hal Jordan's home. And so that gives us a little more insight into Hal Jordan's life, where he comes from. Not much. They are breadcrumbing this thing, which is good. I mean, you want to have enough information for your entire season. So I appreciate that they are drip feeding us information, but that did give us an opportunity to learn a little bit more about Hal Jordan, see a little more about Jon Stewart. He doesn't know if he can trust Hal Jordan. And that kind of translates to he doesn't trust Hal Jordan. In fact, he has a conversation with a character in the episode kind of about that thing. Like, I don't know which way I'm leaning. And she's like, well, if you don't know, don't you kind of know? Hal's investigation to the aliens is actually the highlighted episode for me. He has another confrontation with Macon, and that puts a lot of strain between him and Carrie. And Carrie, we get a little bit about Carrie's motivations and why she is the way that she is and where she's from. I'm not going to tell you where she's from. Go ahead and watch the episode. I would not be surprised if they do more with it. I don't expect a full character realization based off of this little Easter egg, but I do expect it to mean more than just, oh, it's just where I'm from. So Jon, he gets himself involved with some characters who are worried about this alien invasion, and they send him on a mission, and this mission puts him at cross purposes with Hal. Is he going to side with Hal, or is he going to keep his mouth shut and do what he was told to do? And their confrontation at the end I really enjoyed that scene. It was nice and tense, and the music was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the atmosphere. And you feel like we're reaching a breaking point. We're not quite there yet, but I do get the feeling that this is going to boil over. Whether Hal and Jordan end up on the same side when all is said and done, there is going to be a fallout before that point. At some point, these two are going to have to come to blows, because they have a very strong and contrary personalities. So we are winding the tension. And I like that. And the episode ends with Hal needing to gather some additional information. And this part I am going to spoil. He has to go talk to Sinestro. And I'm saying that he goes to visit Sinestro because that was the part of the trailer that I was most excited for. I wanted to see Sinestro on the show. Me personally, I've been waiting for a live action Sinestro portrayal as the villain ever since the Green Lantern movie. He was a lantern in that movie, and he ultimately goes bad at the end of it, but it was like an after credit thing, and it was like sequel bait, but the movie never got a sequel, so I never got to see Sinestro live action as a villain. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Now he's already in jail. They have history. Hal has already dealt with him, but I don't imagine that Sinestro won't at some point become a threat. So I'm looking forward to the conversation that they're going to have. Even the small bit of dialogue they have at the end of this episode, you can tell that Sinestro has Hal's number psychologically. Like there's a thread, and he knows exactly how to pull on it. So I'm fully on board with the show. And honestly, it's quickly becoming the highlight of my week. Oh, by the way, this guy, I'm not convinced he's the villain anymore. I think he's just as much a victim as anybody else. This guy right here.